Hello again, legends. We're back at the brewery. This little video is going to be in a couple of different parts, but hopefully what we're going to be able to show you here is a new purchase and how we're going to adapt it a little bit to make it a little bit better for our uses, a little bit safer, make things a little bit usable. So those of you that know, we've started doing cask beer. Wonderful cask conditioned, just loveliness on the hand pull here, and obviously out onto trade as well, which has been going down really well. Actually, reception so far has been good. We've got a couple of beer festivals coming up: Egham Beer Festival, Farnham Beer X, not the Beer X in Liverpool, but Farnham Beer Festival, and there's a few others that have been in touch as well already. A few pubs as well that start to take our cask beer as well, which has been fabulous. It's been really nice, and I've been, for as happy as I can be, I've been pleased to a point with the beer we've produced. I think we can make it better, and we're learning all the time. So we've got some more brew days, which we might record a cask brew day coming up in the not too distant future. Little story. One of the things we've learned though is we don't have a fleet of our own casks. A lot of breweries that do cask beer own their own casks, have their own fleet. They'll then clean, fill, take out to venues, drop off. Venues will use them. When they go back to do another delivery, they'll uplift their kegs that have got their own colour banding on, you know, the colour bands that you see on casks that are specific to that brewery. There's a whole SIBA, so there's Society of Independent Brewers Association. You can go onto their website. If you're registered with them, you can register your own colour banding, 3 colours in bands unique to you. Although there's a bit of a standard joke that it's not unique anymore because there's been so many reused, but anyway, that's a different matter. And you can uplift them, bring them back, obviously wash, sterilize, fill, back out again, etc. If you don't want to own your own fleet, which, you know, casks are probably, I think they're probably upwards of 40, 45 quid each plus VAT. So the next time you see on Facebook Marketplace or a pub offering casks for sale or for free because they're just outside their pub and they want rid of them, they're not theirs to sell. They belong to a small business. So always remember that. You can do the keg style model, which is very similar to what we do with our kegs. Single use, fill, deliver, forget, get collected by them. We order clean ones back in. We ordered our first pallet of casks in, and Kirsty started to sterilize them. So using our great bucket blaster from our friends at the Malt Miller, because we're just doing peracetic acid, so only need to sterilize, quick rinse, sterilize before we started to sort of put the keystones and the shives in them. And Kirsty sent me this message going, a few of these casks on the end are a bit moldy. These aren't very good. So I was like, send me some pictures. I'll email them off to Kegstar and I'll have a word with them and just kind of go, look, this isn't great. We need to have a chat about this. Got an email back quite quickly from them, informing me that for £11 each, which is the higher fee, including the delivery, they can't guarantee that the casks they're delivering to me are clean. Brilliant. And they're like, oh no, we can do that for you. For another £4, we can make sure they're clean for you as well. But once they leave us, we can't guarantee that they're going to stay clean. So that was a bit of a disappointment, to say the very least, on top of obviously the money we spent on the casks, to then find out that we can't guarantee they were clean. So we're then left with a pallet of like 36 casks that, fair play to Kirsty, she had to then slog her way through doing a caustic clean, using the bucket blaster, one at a time, slow for each of the 2 rackings we've done, which just took ages, took like half a day just to clean and sterilize 16 casks, which is just ridiculous. That's just way too long. So yeah, and then I'm left with, what are we going to do now? How are we going to keep on having to use the bucket blaster? I don't think that bucket blaster is going to like having caustic put through it all the time, because caustic is pretty nasty. So I was like, we need to come up with a solution. So I've been looking at a few different options and looking at, could I build my own cask washer? What would be involved? What would be the cost? All this kind of thing. Looking at what my mate Andy at Four Priests had built, cask wash wise. Obviously having that over the sink. We don't have the same sink kind of arrangement as him. So doing the old plastic, excuse excuse me, I've got a terrible cold at the moment. Doing the old kind of plasterers tray arrangement just isn't really viable. It's not really a thing. Although I like the way he's inserted the safety sort of switch into it to stop you accidentally spraying yourself with caustic. So I started trawling around. There's a pro brewers group, so I was just keeping an eye on there and what stuff would come up for sale. And then, ta-da! This came up for sale via a brewery that was unfortunately closing, Goodness Brewing, up in North London. Unfortunately closing because their lease is up, they're being kicked out of the building they're in, and the cost of relocation and everything is just too much. So they're just like, we've had enough, sell everything. So selling this this cask washer. So I'll take you over and give you a little bit of show of what I've gone and picked up in North London. So what we have here is an Oban Ales cask washer, which ironically is the same people from Scotland that made my brew house, main kettle and whirlpool and stuff. So it's got the same dodgy welds on it, but actually it's a pretty well made big bath. We've got a honking great big bleeding 12 kilowatt 3-phase element on here, which we'll talk about in a second. And then it's a 2-headed washer. So we've got 2 heads here. I'll take one of the casks off in a minute and show you. And then underneath, we've got washer pump under there. Suction's coming from the bottom there. And then the 2 outlets to the spray balls there. Good old pump. And actually, yeah, it's quite good and solid. So as it goes, big, thick stainless steel. I mean, it's going to do a turn for us, an absolute treat. So this is what it looks like underneath. So currently we don't have a rotating spray ball. We've just got a fixed spray ball, and I'm going to replace these for the rotating type that I've put in my kettle. Element that's down in here at the moment, which heats this whole bath, which only is about 40 litres at best, is way too powerful. It's way oversized. And actually, this is the same size element that I've got in my kettle. So I've just ordered a 6 kilowatt 3-phase element to replace this, and I'm going to take this out and keep it as a spare for the kettle, because I think actually having a spare for the kettle that's exactly the right size is a good shout. And a 6 kilowatt is still going to heat this perfectly fine. It's going to do everything we want. But yes, so we've got two washer head. We'll be able to do caustic, rinsing, sterilizing, everything we need in here. The only thing I want to change with this is to make this a little bit more usable. And this is what we're going to do. So what we're going to do, and I've just been speccing out the bits for it, is there's 2 things. Is I want to be able to control whether I've got this heating element on or off better than it just being plugged in. So it's currently on a 4-pin 3-phase plug. So we're going to replace this for a smaller rating element because this is massively oversized. What we're going to do is here, I'm going to design a small box, plastic, because we're going to have caustic knocking around, so we don't really want metal because everything's just metals can get eaten. And on this box, we're going to have a selector switch, so heating on, off, and that is going to enable and disable the heater, because when we're doing rinsing or sterilizing, we don't need the heater. It's cold water, you don't need it to be hot. Currently, this also has no temperature control as well, which is a bit surprising. So it's just going full bore the whole time, and if not, you have to unplug it and take it out, which again isn't great. So what we're going to do is the new one I've ordered has got a thermostat in it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the thermostat, we're going to dial it to the 60 odd degrees that we want for caustic. We're going to take that out of this extra spare gland here, take it into the box that's going to have the switch, and then we're going to have a 3-phase contactor in the box, and that's going to open and close the contactor, switch on and off this element based on the temperature. So really, really simple temperature control. We don't need something super accurate. We don't need PID controllers. Don't need SC1000s. That would get killed by the caustic anyway in no time because they're not really waterproof. And that's going to do enough control, all the control we need to be able to control the heating element on and off. The other thing we're going to do is we are going to take the supply. We're going to replace this cable that's going to the pump because it's clearly got caustic in it. You can see where it's corroded the armor in the SWA cable. So we're going to replace that. What we're going to do is we're going to bring the supply for the wash pump into here as well. We're going to put a timer in the box with a push button on the side. We're going to set this the timer to like 3 or 4 minutes, which is going to be a usual kind of caustic wash cycle. We can obviously be able to adjust it a little bit and depend on how we want it to work. But we're going to have a push button on the side so that when you rock up and you put your 2 casks on your cask washer, obviously you're going to flick your switch on. That's going to heat the water up. When that's all good, you're just going to push the start button, and then this is going to run like a 3-4 minute wash cycle all on its own. Run. When it's finished, stop. So that means you won't have to attend it. You won't have to go away and switch this thing on and off on a plug and unplug it, and messing around with gloves and hot water, and MCBs and all this sort of nonsense. It'll all be here, and you'll just literally walk up, push a button, walk away, get on with something else, come back when it's finished, crack on, swap it over, do another one, etc., etc. So that should make life and make this a lot more usable, just through a few really simple mods. So what I'll do is just try and capture and show you some of these mods we're doing, the little panel we're going to make up. Also going to put some wheels on this as well, because it's not got any wheels, so moving it around, we're just going to put a couple of wheels on one end so you can just pick it up and wheel it around to make life a little bit easier. We've already tested it though. Pump is good. Pump rinses really well. I'll pop the other cask on just so you can see it going and see the flow it's getting. I'm gonna get some rotating spray balls anyway, just so you can get them from AliExpress, and they're not expensive, which should hopefully improve the washing even more, and therefore reduce the wash time and how much caustic and water you need. The other good thing with this will be is we're going to be able to use it to store causticy water in. So caustic's expensive. But when you CIP a tank, when you clean a tank with caustic, if you haven't got anywhere to put it, you have to put it down the drain. When it actually is perfectly good, you can reuse it again, maybe 2, 3, 4 times. So actually, this thing's going to be really handy in heating up hot water in a small amount, because I think it's about 40, 50 litres to the line. We're going to measure that and just get that so we know it exactly. Heat caustic in it, and then we'll be able to pump it out of this, clean an FV with it, clean parts of the brew house with it, but then pump the causticy water back into it again and store it in there, and then save it to reuse another time. It doesn't degrade like some sterilants do, where if they've been out open to the elements for a while. So that should hopefully be really beneficial as well. Wasn't that expensive. I picked this up for 400 quid. These elements on their own are 280 quid delivered. So actually, and the pumps themselves are best part of 700 quid. So you then put in all the stainless steel and other bits and pieces. It's a bit of a bargain, really, to be honest. And hopefully it's going to be a really useful addition. So the next thing is to get the bits ordered, get them here. I've got my mate Keith coming to give me a hand on Friday. And then we'll start sticking all the bits and pieces in and sticking it all together. So, see you in a couple of days and we'll get stuck into it. I'll just give you a little show about how this thing washes. So yeah, we've got everything back on. And then if I flick this switch on here, we should. There it goes. And you can see, I mean, it's a pretty good pump. Getting loads of flow through it. Obviously, I'm going to need to get some kind of plastic cover here, because when the keystone's out, you do get a bit of splashback here. So to get something on the back to try and stop that. But yeah, really good flow. The guy said it does work really well. They've never had any problems with it. So yeah, should be good. Should do the job. Cask washer, here we come. All of our own. Few mods and we should be good to go. So yeah, next thing, let's get into it. Okay then, so things have moved on a little bit. So we've now got this box built to go onto the side of the keg washer. So this is the incoming overload for the element. This is the incoming overload for the pump. So what we've got is we've got a 3-phase on-off contactor here. So it's got a coil inside and the contacts open and close, which we'll use to control our heating element. One for temperature and then the other for the switching on and off. And then here we've got our simple timer on-off contactor that will run our wash pump for our preset period.
So you can see the timer settings we've got on there that we can play with. So time base and then how long it runs for. So again, the plan for this will be that we've got our on-off switch that will go on the front. That will be the heater element on-off. And then that will control through the thermostat in the element, which I'll show you in a second. And then here we're going to have our start button. And then also a stop button as well for the actual wash cycle that will run. So you've got power coming in here. Sorry, power going back out again for the element there that will go back out. And then here we've got the power supplies for the pump that will go out in a plastic box, because Caustic loves metal. So make sure that's got a plastic box on it. Yeah, and I've got my man Keith with me today, because if you can't tell already, I have man flu. So I need some help. So that's going on here. We've also replaced the element. So this is now a 6 kilowatt 3-phase rather than the 12 kilowatt 3-phase that's in there. It's the same size as the one in my kettle, which is massive and just hugely oversized. So we're going to downrate it to this, to 6 kilowatt, and then I'm going to take that one out and then keep it as a spare for the kettle. So we've got this conduit here called Copex. This is going to run round and be replaced to go to go into the heating element, rather than just having the armored cable, because that will keep it a little bit tidier, a little bit more protected. And yeah, so the thermostat in the element will switch this on off as well, so that it will go through the same circuit. So when we flick the switch on, the element will come on, and then obviously the thermostat will call for heat because it's cold, and then as it gets up to temperature, the thermostat will open, which will open the coil, open the circuit for the coil, the contactor will open, power will go off, and so on and so forth, until we flick the switch and the heating element is off. And again, we push the button here, the pump will run for our preset cycle and then finish. But we've also added just a kind of stop button as well. So if you need to stop it for whatever reason, you can just push the stop and that's it. So yeah, let's get this fitted and get it on the washer. So what we've got here is, obviously we've got the big element in here, which is, as we said, is just massively oversized. This is the one it's replacing. This one's, trying to think how many inches it were. It's like 8 inches, I think, maybe. So it's kind of like more there, halfway, which is adequate size. 6 kilowatt as well, which for the size of the bath, perfect. So I just need to get this one out and get the new one in. So I've not got a nice big pair of stillies to be able to get that off. Right. So that should be. Cool. That's all I need really, just to crack it off, and then it should just come straight out. We're going to reuse some of the cable anyway, so there we go. It's the element out. So job done. Right, so here you can see this is the new element that's going in. This is the existing one. I suspect the wiring in this isn't great, because it was done by the guys that, when they replaced this element, it was done by them, that the guys at the brew house, which invariably means they're not electricians, and it's not the best job in the world. So when we swap this over, we're going to make sure it's crimped and terminated properly. But yes, experience tells me that this probably won't be the best, which is in some ways is a good thing, because this is really high power, right? So this is can melt stuff if you're not careful. Let's have a look, shall we? I haven't got my glasses on as well, which is a bit of a silly move. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, quality bit of insulation going on here. So we've got the new element in now. You can see it's much, much shorter. The old element was like out to here somewhere and way oversized. So we've got the new element in. And then, yeah, We've got the control panel in place. So like we said before, this is the contactor that will come on and off with the switch being on, and then also when the thermostat's in, and it's wired through that same circuit to the coil for this. So it'll come on and off depending on the temperature demand. This is a local MCB, which will just protect it locally, protect the cables locally, and then this is the MCB, and then the timer, and then we'll work on just adjusting that timer in a minute. I'll do a little, I'll record something separately because I've got a bit of focusing on the thing, and for some reason this camera won't focus unless I'm super close. So yeah. Right, so here we are. So Keith has been doing a great job while I've been sat around feeling ill. So everything's terminated in here now. On lugs, on heat shrink, nothing like it was obviously with the homebrew type job that was done before. All nicely glanded off. So obviously this is the thermostat now that will sit inside, that will dial the temperature in. Probably that won't focus, but we'll dial the temperature into that to about 60 degrees, which is ideal for the caustic wash. Obviously that will then come up through here, as we said before, with that, and then we'll label these buttons up and stuff. So that'll we might even have an on-off light to say when the pump's running and when the element's on as well. And as Keith was pointing out, we might also incorporate a micro switch or two onto here as well, just so we've got a bit of safety, so you can't start the pump without any casks being on as well. But yeah, starting to take shape now. So yeah, all wired up, nicely ready to go. So let's get some water in. So the only other minor issue we spotted is this is the three-phase, I don't know, I can't think now because it's bloody cold. That one, yeah, rotary isolator that we use to run the auger off of. So it's in there, does exactly that. Now, this is matched from a rating perspective from the overload to the size of the auger. So another reason for down rating putting a smaller element in the cask washer is that it matches this and it can run under the MCB, so the protection of this and the cabling. But because we're also powering the single phase pump, which is a live and a neutral from this as well, and three-phase motors of this type don't have to have a neutral, we've only got a 3-core cable going into here from the board to run the auger, which would be fine normally, but now we need a neutral as well. So what we're going to do is, in my little store of cables, I've got a 5-core here. So we've got 3 cores for our 3 phases and a blue for a neutral, plus the earth. I always keep some spares up on top of the roof. So what we're going to do is we're going to run in a replacement cable from here, move all the FEs and stuff out of the way, up to the disc board. So we'll then run a new cable down along the containment work that I put in, however long ago, all the way through to the rotary isolator. So that will then allow us to run everything through it. It'll be suitably protected, and it'll be the cable we need to do the single phase and the 3-phase elements. So we've now realised we've got that to do as well. But you know, Keith's helping me out because I feel like utter man flu hell at the moment. Right, making some headway into it now. New cables in, clipped all across. Keith's just doing the terminations up there for me. Get everything up into the board. So the great thing is we're not having to muck around with the size of the MCB actually, because we've been able to rate it all together. So that just saves an extra parts and farting around, which makes life a whole lot easier. So yeah, so the auger and the keg washer now will be able to run all off the same 3-phase rotary isolator, which will make life loads easier. The other really handy thing as well is we're only going to have one 3-phase plug for the whole unit, whereas before they had one for the element and then one for the pump. Of course, everything's going to run off the single one now, so we just better plug this in once, and then it'll be jobs good, and so that should just do everything we need. So yeah, we're getting close. Once we get that clipped in with Keith, get the covers on this, do a quick test on it, and then we can put some water in it and test it out. Away. So we've now got single power lead for the whole thing, because let's just get this up so you can see it's because we've combined the power supply for the element and the pump into one now, so you don't have two separate leads. So let's get that over there ready. But first, let's get some water into this. Oops, I'm going to run the risk of accidentally turning on the element without any water in it, because it will go bang really quickly. Right, let's get some water in. Let's get that topped up and have a look. So here we go, moment of truth, switch on. Actually, I'm going to pop some casks on as well. That would be a useful thing to do, wouldn't it? Hang on a second. So let me get a couple of casks on there so we can run the pump. Let's test the pump operation first. Cask on there. And cask on here. That's why we filled it up with water. It's got loads of water in it. I've actually mounted the washer now to a plastic pallet. Doing the wheels on one end just didn't work. Whereas now I've got it attached to this plastic pallet, we can move it around when it's full of liquid with the fork truck. So if I switch this on now, so we've got it switched on, and you can see, whether that'll focus down there or not, you can see just the bubbles coming off the element, so the element's working there. Maybe you could zoom in a little bit even. There you go. Not sure if that's going to focus or not. There you go. So the element's working away there quite nicely, which is great. This is where having a lamp on the front here showing that it's cooling for heat or not would be super handy. But then we can then start a wash cycle while it's heating up, and this will now run for 3 minutes. I've got it set for, and then yeah, quite pleased with that. Not happy with these feet though, that's the one thing I will say. The trial with getting these feet on the bottom to make it, and this is like testing out whether it will work. The problem is it makes it too high, and you definitely need wheels on each end for this to be sensible. So I think I'm gonna have to come up with a different plan. I might even need to get this cut down and make it a little bit lower to then get some wheels put on it. But for the moment, and for what it's cost me, I'm absolutely chuffed to bits with it. So we'll just give this a test and make sure this gets up to temperature, get a temperature gauge on it, just prove that it's maintaining the temperature as we want, and then we should be good. So just getting up to temperature now. I've actually had to increase the setting on the thermostat on there to get it to go, so I think this is pretty much there. It was clicking in and out when it got to like 30, so I've wound it up now. So this is a 20 to 80 thermostat, so I need to get it to about 50, 55, so it should be there and thereabouts. But yeah, here we are really. It's yeah, it's all good. Really pleased with that. Project number 2. The one thing we are going to do now though, I thought about this while waiting for this to heat up, is we're going to take the feet off. Not take the feet, take the wheels off. We need this to be mobile, right? But also because we're going to be storing caustic in it, it's going to be a bit heavy. We need to be mindful of that. So what I'm going to do, we're looking for a home for this anyway, is we're going to sort out the chemical pallet here, and I'm actually going to mount the cask washer to the back of the chemical pallet, so it'll be stored back there on here with the chemicals in front of it. These casks and stuff, pins, we can get rid of those. but actually we can have it at the back of the pallet with the chemicals in front, and when we need to get it out for washing, we can just lift the chemicals off nice and easy, pick this up with a pallet truck, bring it out, and then wheel it into position to then use it. We won't be increasing the height on it at all, when you'll be able to step up onto the plastic pallet. And then when you're finished, take it back, wheel it back, put it back in position, put the chemicals, pallet truck there, jobs are good. So that's what we're going to do, but I'm going to do that on a separate video. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So that now, with the e-stop out, it now runs. And if I push the e-stop, there you go. So yeah, success. Bit of a long video, backwards and forwards, lots of messing around. Yeah, thanks for watching. Really hope you like it. We've got some more stuff coming, some brew days coming up. I'll see you on the channel soon.